Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast. Dizzy, g'day, how are you?
Better now, mate. Better now after cracking that beer. It's good to be here. Episode 77 as we nudge our way towards 80.
You're not going straight to the 100 like you've been talking about for 40-odd episodes?
We're getting there. No, very good, Rhodey. We've got a great episode lined up with Dr Crystal Beckman, the scientist behind the survey. We're going to ask her all things about that survey and a few other things that she's been involved with SARDI and PIRSA.
We are, Diz, and we're actually fresh off a week fishing, so we've got plenty to talk about for a change.
Yes, we do. We've had a great week away. It was nice to have a break. Shout
out to your parents for letting us use their shack.
Yeah, it was great. Weather was unbelievable.
Oh, the weather forecast for next week, have you looked at that? Not looking good.
Horrible. We nailed
Windy,
that.
so we nailed it.
Yeah, we did. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. Probably in the report we'll more talk about the week. But before we get into the guts of the episode, I suppose, Rhodey, let's get to the oranges and lemons. What's your highlight been?
Diz, we've probably over the last 2 or 3 years probably become pretty consistent on the whiting. Fair to say?
Yeah, I think so.
But we haven't probably fished for squid hard enough of late.
No, we didn't have, we've had a few good days metro over the years gone by.
Yeah.
But never really sort of actively targeted them, used them for bait quite a bit.
Yeah, but we ate some really good squid and we caught plenty of squid last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did very well on the squid. We found some good spots, had some good jigs, which we'll talk about soon. But, no, we did very well.
And found a new spot off Pine Point, which was nice.
Yeah, no, it was a good spot off Piney there. Happy days.
Nice, long weed that you look for.
Yeah, the corkweed beds, I think, are generally the go.
And we got a little tip off.
Yeah, a little tip off.
And we followed the hints.
Friend of the show.
Found them.
Yeah,
and it's they're good eating. We'll talk about the eating, though, later on.
Yeah, we will. Rhodey, my orange, power. Ooh, they did well against the Lions.
I just didn't see that coming. I thought we were a chance, but didn't think we would win by 10 goals.
Nah, yeah, they the Lions were knocked out by the Cats in the prelim last year, so they finished well up on the ladder and did all right in the finals campaign. It was good to knock them off.
And Diz, friend of the show, Tommy Jonas.
Yeah.
Skipper again.
Yeah, he did well. Played well, I thought.
We went to the game together, and I did say he is all the Wharfies' favourite.
Yeah.
They love him, don't they?
Yep, they certainly do. Right, already, I'm just going to roll that straight into my lemon. Althorpe's, we were eyeing off the weather. Like we said, we had great weather for the week, but Wednesday was looking like the day. It was absolutely glassy. It was beautiful out there. It was a great day. I think our boats are reasonably capable, but you wouldn't want to be caught out there in some nasty weather with some big swell. So we do need to pick the days. We got out there. We tried a number of productive nanny holes that we've worked in the past. None of them came up good.
And we found some new lumps too. And some of the lumps down there, you look at them on the sound and you're like, how is there not fish there?
I know. I don't know what was going on.
But
I don't know what it was.
Almost pulled a donut.
We almost did pull a donut. It was like somebody bought 50 bananas on the boat or something.
We caught one size nanagai. Could have kept some leather jackets and some of them if we were hungry.
We literally were approaching Althorpe's and we saw bait. We saw birds working. I thought I saw some tuna jump. I was like, mate, we're on here. We hadn't even got to the island yet and I thought we were on. And the day just went downhill.
Mind you, the only highlight was the weather. It was like a lake out there in the afternoon, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
We turned our attention to droning, didn't we, and took some cool pictures of the drone.
Yeah, we do. We got some good footage on the drone. What was your lemon, Rody?
We had the families over at Yorke's on the last week, as we said, and that does add another complexity to fishing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Especially when they both decide to not sleep at the same time.
So, we took them out. We took Lou out squidding one day. We took them both out crabbing, which were reasonably successful. They had a bit of fun, looked at the crabs, whatever else.
Yep.
One of them wasn't as successful.
No. We tried to go gar fishing.
Bought a pack of gents, got the garfish rigs out, the pencil floats.
Oh, where are those gents?
They're legitimately still in your fridge at the shack.
In the top fridge?
Yeah, you better tell your dad.
Oh,
you don't want your mum finding them.
Sakes.
Anyway, so we got the gear ready, got the kids happy, got them water bottles and little snacks and everything to keep them happy.
That might be my lemon now. The gents.
Dizzy's frantically messaging his old man saying, you better find the gents first. If Di finds them, we're in trouble. Anyway, we took the kids out. Dizzy, you actually caught one straight away, garfish.
Yeah, I did. Look, we were there for maybe 10, 15 minutes fishing.
We had two screaming kids.
The kids were going nuts. Millie started playing something on YouTube to keep entertained for a little while.
Your garfish flapped around and tangled and hooked everything.
Yeah, well, as a lot of people know, with gars, you use those really micro-sized hooks, and if you don't react to the bite very well, they can inhale them. So this one was deep. Lucky it was comfortably sized. Oh,
and we were both trying to hold a kid, hold a rod, keep the girls happy, keep everyone happy.
Yeah, that was a genuine...
It was a fail.
Genuine lemon, that one.
But good week nonetheless, Diz, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, we will. Roadie, socials. We've obviously been pretty active. We've obviously had the week away, so we had plenty of posts up, which was great. Sure, everybody's been following along, but importantly, they do want to make sure that you listeners out there continue to send us in your photos, because the Shimano comp is still running.
Yes, Diz, that's pretty much running all year. So we're going to have a different prize pack every month. So Shimano have looked after us with a backpack, a stubby holder and a cap to give away to our favourite photo that one of the listeners sends in, Diz.
Yep, so you want to just send in any photo of you fishing, enjoying the outdoors, that sort of thing, and you'll go in the running to win that. And then probably next episode, I'd say, we'd announce the winner or thereabouts.
Yes, Diz, we certainly will. Well, I reckon that will be the next episode.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Rody. That sounds good. Well, Rody, you have the honours. Let's get stuck into the next segment.
Rody and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and will give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Rody, you've been burying your head in the books once again, and we've got a good little juicy news segment. It's not going to drag on for very long. There's not lots, but there's some good stuff in there.
Diz, there certainly is, and we're going to get started with Recfish SA is hosting a Nature Adventure Day in the school holidays, Saturday the 15th of April at Happy Valley Reservoir.
Ooh, how good. Free.
It's free with drinks, barbecue and fishing gear provided. Diz,
how good is that?
They do ask that you RSVP and let them know you're coming.
Yep, so send through your RSVP to ed@recfishsa.org.au. They want a big turnout. Clearly, it'll be a great event down at the Happy Valley Reservoir. Hopefully the weather turns it on. It's absolutely lovely down there to wet a line, go for a walk, enjoy the scenery. It's a great spot.
And I haven't been there for a while, Diz, since the young'uns were very little.
Yeah, I haven't been there for a while either.
So it might be a good chance for us to get down there and try and pull a cod out of the sticks.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea of getting down there and flicking a bit of a line, taking the kids down probably and making a day of it. There'll be Katrine Hildyard, member in the, Raynell, I think it is, the Great Southern Electorate down in the City of Onk, and Claire Scriven.
Are they attending or is that sort of unconfirmed?
Oh, I don't really know. I believe one of them probably will.
Well, we'll certainly hope so.
Yeah, you'd hope so. You'd hope they'd be supportive of that event.
Anyway, it's a great event. Educate the kids, give them something during the school holidays, teach them about fishing, all that sort of stuff that Recfish is putting a lot of time and effort into, Diz.
Yep, absolutely. Ready? Let's move on now because we've got the Port Vic Fishing Comp, which is coming up, Brody, isn't it?
It is. So that one's over Easter.
Yeah, and Easter's earlier this year, so I think we're looking at the 8th of April.
Yeah, I'll believe you. Yeah, I'm on a houseboat, so that sounds right. And that's on the Saturday, I think it was, from 6 a.m. till midday. Adults, $10 entry. Children's under 16, $5. There's jetty and shore entries available from the Port Victoria jetty on the day.
Yeah, fantastic. We love that. That'll be a good event for anybody who's heading down to either Port Vic or the Yorke Peninsula general area for the Easter long weekend. It'll be a great one.
And that's run by the Port Victoria Royal Volunteer Coastal Patrol. So you'd imagine that's a bit of fundraising for them too. So great cause.
Absolutely it is. Roddy, what else have we got?
Bit more stocking in the reservoirs, Diz. We did just talk about Happy Valley there, but exciting news for the land-based sort of the inland fishers. 3 SA reservoirs have welcomed a combined 100,000 fingerlings in the last month, which is great news, Diz.
Yeah, it is. So they're spread across the Bundalia, Maiponga and South Para.
Yep, so golden perch and silver perch went into Bundalia, Murray cod, golden perch and silver perch into the South Para reservoir.
Excellent work. We love that. We love seeing those stocking programs. All of those, like you say, inland fishers, people with kayaks who love getting on the resis and doing some damage. We love that, Rody.
And rainbow trout went into Maiponga too. I missed that bit somehow.
Oh, jeez, mate. Come on. Get with the program.
And, anyway, that's
what do you call yourself?
Good fish to target on the reservoirs.
What do you call yourself? A sort of news guru?
Oh, well, someone's got to be somewhat of a news guru around here.
Gee whiz. Okay, let's get into the Menindee fish kill, Rody. This was a ABC article that come across our desk.
Did you see all the photos? They were amazing, weren't they?
Oh, the amount of dead fish was unbelievable.
And Diz, I've had a read of a couple of articles sort of linked through the social media, and it talks about a combination of low oxygen levels, and that's caused by the floodwaters sort of going downhill.
Okay.
Not going downhill, receding. Is that right?
Yeah, certainly receding
word
would
I'm
make
looking
more
for?
sense than going downhill.
Bit like your hairline.
That's an aside.
Anyway,
concentrate.
So the combination of the low oxygen levels caused by the receding floodwaters and the high temperatures of over 40 degrees for sort of several days in a row over the weekend did cause this massive fish kill, and they've said it's a bad one. It's worse than they had in 2018 and 2019.
Okay.
And there is hundreds and hundreds of dead bony bream running down that river.
Yeah, not good. Not good, Rody.
And obviously that's over the border, Diz.
Well, yes.
But it does flow pretty quickly into the Murray and then pretty quickly into South Australia.
Yeah, and look, these are the consequences, I suppose, of floods.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know that overall there is clearly some environmental benefits. This one, not so much.
It's not, Diz, and it's pretty confronting footage, really, isn't it?
Certainly is. Certainly is, Rody. All right, that was a good little news segment, Rody.
It certainly is, Diz, and we're going to get into a bit more news just in a second. We're going to go into the tackle item, Diz.
Absolutely.
Now it's time for Rody and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
That screaming drag just gets you every time, doesn't it?
Don't you love that on the boat when someone else hooks the bottom and does that little bit of drag and you're like, oh, they're on.
It's usually you.
Yeah, I love putting a bit of mayo on it.
Rody, tackle item of the week this episode is going to be, I suppose, somewhat related to what worked really well in our week away.
Yeah, it did, Diz. It did the damage. We're talking the Shimano Clinch lure, the squid jig.
Yep.
The Sephia Clinch.
Yep, with flash boost.
The flash boost. I'm actually looking at it right now. You know when you hold a bit of tackle in your hands and just fiddle with it?
Yeah.
The flash boost, it's almost nodding me off to sleep. It's a bit therapeutic or something.
Well, it's not meant to be. It's meant to really draw
Fire
your eyes and fire you up.
Maybe it has the opposite effect on humans.
Maybe. Sort of. But goodness me, it did the damage. There's obviously been a lot of work that's gone into tackle over the years. these jags, particularly on the week away, we found to be doing the absolute damage. We had some other people fishing with a couple of old jags that just happened to be floating around on the boat, and comfortably this one did the damage over the others. Rody, wouldn't that be fair to say?
Certainly did, Diz, and I know there's a lot of theories that the hardcore squid fishers have, but certainly for us, the colour that did the damage was the Keimura White.
Yes.
Didn't
yes,
it? That nailed like heaps in a row.
Yeah, it did, to the point where basically one got smashed so hard countless times that it was just ripping the outside off.
Yeah, they get
beaks
fired up,
were just
don't they?
getting into it. They were smashing them really hard. Like they were just going for them. So it was really good. And really good.
So it's a size 3 jag, so that's probably your go-to most of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. For the waters that we fish, generally speaking, that sort of 3 metre mark.
And don't you love it when a squid like follows up your teaser line or a different squid jig and you can just see it's not quite going to hit it?
Yeah.
And then we flick the white one out and it goes bang.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it is a case, isn't it? Then all of a sudden you're just scrambling. You're like, how many have I got? Here, everyone get the white on. You're flicking them out. Everyone's having just... The action can be hot sometimes when you get onto a school of squid.
Oh, well, I think it was one day when it was just you and I in the boat. We caught like 5 in a row without taking the previous one out of the water sort of thing, didn't we? We just flowed through one into the other, and that's when squidding's great fun.
Absolutely, it is. And then, of course, when you want to clean them at the end of it all, you get your tumbler out, you whack them in there, you drag them through the water, and you're done.
And that made a quick job of it, didn't it?
Did, absolutely did. Good
Should
tackle
we quickly say how we cooked them? Did we say about that before?
Oh, no, we didn't. We should. Yeah,
we marinated them in some sweet chili and lemon juice.
Yep. Bit of salt and pepper.
And scored them.
Yep.
Did the crisscross scores and put them over the charcoal.
Yeah. Oh, it was epic.
So good. We often like deep fry them or crumb them or whatever else. But for something different, it was bloody good.
Yeah. Well, we were just cooking the gyros, actually. And I remember a couple of years ago we had actually a neighbour a few places down come. They were of Greek background, and they were doing a full lamb on the spit. It was Australia Day thing. And they brought a few pieces down, and it was to die for. It was epic.
But yeah, no, certainly for something
different. We followed their lead.
You're not always going to have the charcoal set up, but if you do, you got the time of day, you're on holidays like we were, it's a bloody good way to cook them.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Or maybe this is an offshoot of the podcast.
I've always talked about it being a bit of a cook on the side.
Yeah, there you go. You never know. Righto, Rody, what do we got next, mate?
Diz, let's get into our guest. We're going to chat with Crystal Beckman, research scientist from SARDI.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
All right, Diz, we are very happy and very privileged to be joined by Dr Crystal Beckman, who's a research scientist and is involved in the recent Rec Fishing Report. Crystal, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on the show, Crystal. We did talk to you before we started recording today, and really keen to hear about, we're going to ask you one of our questions that we ask all guests, because we know you do enjoy getting out on the ocean and flicking a line. So tell us about your best fish before we get stuck into the report and other things you've been up to.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so a bit of a recreational fisher, but I'd probably put myself in the basket of that average fisher that sort of fishes a couple of days a year when we can find the time. But I don't have a real exciting fish story, but I think one in recent times that kind of sticks out was out fishing for a bit of garfish, a bit of whiting, that kind of thing, and everyone was killing it on the top, catching heaps of garfish, and I was catching, baby flathead. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just keep going at it because we're doing good on the garfish. And then just pulled up a bit of a stonker flathead, just metro, and everyone was like super surprised. We've got a lizard. This is fantastic. And just sort of the excitement of that sticks in my mind for something from recent times.
Beautiful. Always exciting and always good to catch something to show off with after the boat.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Crystal, into the more science side of things. Can you tell us about your background and how you got sort of involved in PERSA and what your role is now?
Sure. I did marine biology at uni and then went through the whole thing, did the honours and PhD, and I actually used to work on sharks, so something a bit different. But then, got this role at SARDI, started doing some fishery stock assessment stuff, so really applied research, which I really enjoy. And I've worked on commercial fisheries, so prawns, and then more recently on blue crabs. And that's kind of where I started moving into the rec space, because obviously blue crabs being a really important recreational species, it was really important for me to try and improve the way we collect data on the recreational side of things. So when the opportunity came up to work on the recreational fishing survey project, I really jumped at it.
Yeah, fantastic, Crystal. It's excellent to see this happening, and I think it's been great to be able to collect some of this data. It's certainly been something that everybody's kind of been waiting with bated breath. And do you think this is something we're going to see more of? Clearly having someone like yourself being, championing this to some degree is great. Can you give us any insights around what we might be able to expect into the future?
Yeah, so at the moment, the government generally plans to do the surveys about every 5 years. So they're those big, large-scale surveys like the one that we've just run. And so a big challenge with that is obviously there's that big gap in between the data collection. So one part of the project that we've been working on is doing the app-based study. So, if we can have some good success with finding a way to use the app-based data, we're hopeful that we'd be able to keep that running in between the large-scale surveys to try and tighten up that time series.
And how's that been sort of taken by the public? Have they got around that, or people have thought it's all a bit difficult with the app, or how's that been received?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because we don't have an easy way to contact such a large group of people. We don't have a list of all of the recreational fishers in South Australia, but we've used a range of different promotion techniques, and we ran the survey over about 18 months on the app. And during that time, we had over 2,500 surveys completed, and there was about sort of 2,000 participants who were taking part in that survey.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, coming out of the report, seeing the growth in numbers from the last report, and like you say, that large gap between surveys does present some issues in terms of the timeliness of that data, etc. And I think it's great that we're looking at ways to collect more relevant data or more recent data or however that might be. I suppose it's interesting that 2,000, it's such a disconnect from the amount of people that's fishing though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that surprising. It's something that we see all over the world. They're basically trying to do the same thing that we're doing here with the app and find ways to get this data. And the most difficult segment of the fishing community to engage are those ones, probably like me, who fish, less than, 5 days a year. So it's quite easy to get people who are really keen and really invested to do the work. But yeah, those casual fishers are really hard to get engaged in this type of citizen science work. So it's a real challenge in terms of getting a representative sample. So something that you can use to extrapolate to the entire population.
Yeah, beautiful. I suppose that's the challenge with all sorts of research, isn't it, Crystal?
Yeah, no, and I just got back from the World Rec Fishing Conference, and yeah, we're not alone. There's a lot of other, academics and government that are all trying to investigate apps and other different approaches. So we're hoping that some really good research is going to start to come out over the next couple of years.
What sort of, are there any sort of examples of techniques where they might use things outside of just app-based surveys, maybe something that people could expect to find at a boat ramp, or they could expect to find in a tackle store, and these sorts of things, you might capture a larger number of people that way?
So yeah, like you can do more static monitoring type stuff. So you can do cameras at boat ramps that do counts. You can do traffic counters. There's a range of different things, different technologies that people use. But at the end of the day, a lot of those things don't tell you what people are catching and how much they're catching. So you still need some kind of mechanism to get that information.
And do you think that, PIRSA and things like that, they're going to want this to become sort of compulsory reporting? Is that where you think this is heading, or?
They're two pretty different things, to be honest. So, mandatory sort of reporting like what's going on with snapper at the moment, that has its own challenges as well. So I think a lot of the learnings that we'll take from our voluntary survey will be just really relevant across the board for collecting recreational fishing data.
So this is really just to get a good indication without sort of making anything compulsory. Is that sort of where you're going?
So we're trying to go with, if we were doing a voluntary app, what kind of techniques would you use to promote it to get the best number of people in?
Yeah.
And then what kind of techniques would you use to make that data into something that could be integrated into your stock assessments and to make fisheries management decisions? So at the moment, it's really about, it's a proof of concept around how can we design a method to use data from sources like apps.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, we've got a listener question, Crystal, if you don't mind. Bill Go, one of our listeners, sounds like he's reasonably in on the science side of things. He's asked what's the upper and lower range for your estimation of wreck fishes, so the 356,000. Is there a 95% confidence range or a standard error? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Yeah, we present a standard error in the report. I think it's something around 10,000. So what we tend to find for the participation estimates, the precision around those, so that's what he's talking about, is the error estimates around those. It's quite good for participation because that's a really large number of people that we're surveying. So for background, we called 30,000 people and then 5,000 of those participated in the survey. So those 5,000 is where you get the participation from. And then when you drill down into asking people about what they catch and how often they fish, that comes from a smaller sample of that 1,000. So obviously, the less people you sample, then the lower your precision is going to be.
Fantastic, Crystal. Thank you for that, and thank you, of course, to Bill for the question coming in from one of the listeners as well, which has been great to see. Crystal, I did want to ask you some specifics. There were some great numbers coming out of the report. Growth in women fishing numbers from 2013 to the most recent one, 21-22, has been great to see, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really interesting result. I think I had a little bit of a look into the literature, and it really seems to be related to leisure constraints, so around the things that stop people go fishing perhaps changing a little bit through time. And it's pretty interesting as well having a look at the different age groups and seeing, which ones are driving that growth.
And the other thing that sort of jumped out for me was, 356,708 total numbers of fishers who fish an average of 4 days per year. So it really does tell you that there's a lot of those people that go out once or twice a year on school holidays or whatever else. And, us or the real diehards that go out every couple of weeks are really in the minority.
Yeah, and again, that's really quite common throughout lots of different fisheries. And I think it's something that probably does cause a bit of controversy around these types of surveys because it's that definition of what do you consider a fisher. And for these surveys, it's if you went fishing, you are a fisher. So it includes that really broad recreational fishing community.
Yeah, beautiful. All good, Crystal. Now, the other thing that we're interested in reading is about how the total catch is broken up and what people target and what people take home. Based on these results and some of the species that, your whiting and your crabs and those species that are make up the biggest percentage of catch by number and by total weight, do you think there's any concern about these species going forward with the extra pressure from the snapper ban?
So it was something that, a few people raised going into the survey. And I think generally when you look at, so it was a snapper ban during the survey period as well.
Yeah. And
so for most species, we didn't see a large increase in catch. I think across the board, finfish catch decreased. So I wouldn't say that the data is sort of suggesting that shift. But I guess probably what we would need to do to investigate that further is have a little bit of a closer look at some of the, the spatial trends. So look at Gulf St. Vincent, look at Spencer Gulf and really break those down a bit more rather than looking at the whole state.
Fantastic. Crystal, I want to ask you a question. When you did this report, what shocked you most? What were you not expecting to see but you saw, and something that sort of caught your eye out of the report?
It was probably more of a general thing. So as a scientist and, really my goal was getting data to inform harvest strategies and stock assessments and our bread and butter work. But kind of through the process and learning about surveys and getting more into it, I kind of realised that the numbers in terms of what people catch is probably the least interesting part about the whole discipline. It's just been really interesting to learn a lot more about the behavioural and the social drivers. And I think it's just an area where, putting a value on recreational fishing that isn't related to catch is something that I'm really interested in. So, and I think, when we look forward into the future, how we would manage things like fishing, it's going to be less about numbers around catch and more about values and things that we I find really difficult to quantify, I guess, through these types of surveys.
Yeah, fantastic. I was sort of hoping that you might have been able to sort of share maybe like the most red hot GPS coordinates for King George whiting or something like that. But anyway, no, it was good to hear.
No, we make sure that everyone's spots are definitely kept a secret. So when our fishers give us their information, it's all about, did you fish in northern Gulf St. Vincent or southern Gulf St. Vincent? It's certainly not about drilling down into GPS locations.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, it is interesting though because, it's really no secret that fishing people in general don't like to give away any secrets.
Yeah.
And, I think interestingly,
that, though, there's plenty of places that run, logbook programs that have been really successful over long periods of time. So,
yeah.
There are lots of fishers out there, and we're very appreciative of all the fishers that got involved in all the different types of surveys that we ran, because my overwhelming sense from talking to fishers was that they were happy to be involved and wanted to contribute to the science.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think really at the end of the day, if, the recreational fishing community want things to be done for them or whomever it is, it's important to be collecting this data. And that obviously allows, this data obviously allows the decision makers to be informed around what's actually happening out there. I mean, one thing that was incredibly pleasing, I suppose, from our perspective was to see that economic value go up. And I guess I know that will be outside of commentary that you'd want to make, but from a recreational fishing perspective, it's excellent to see the types of things that it brings to the economy. And it goes to show for those trips that we go away and you're spending a lot of time in local communities that it is making a difference, which is pleasing to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess some of the things that we looked at, not in terms of an economic perspective, but we did look at things like where people lived relative to where they go fishing. So, some areas are more likely to be fished by people who live locally, but then you could also see people travel to fish. And actually one really interesting stat was that recreational fishing participation rates, so when you compare who fishes to the population, are really high in regional areas. So I think that really just shows the value of fishing to those regional communities.
Yes, beautiful. And you only have to travel to the Yorke Peninsula like we're doing next week, and we'll spend money at the survey, we'll spend money at the the pub, all that sort of stuff. So you can see how big it is for a rural community as well.
For sure.
Crystal, one other thing I wanted to ask is, I know you do this research with the University of Tasmania, and we did notice that Sean Tracy was one of the names who's very respected in the fishing world. Is that why they're the ones that get involved in this as opposed to a South Australian uni, just because they do have that fishing experience?
Sure. So the first survey back in 2001 was the national Indigenous Recreational Fishing Survey, and so that was developed by the researchers down in Tasmania. So Sean now heads up the group that runs their fishing research program. So basically we were really learning from them and tapping into their skill set around running these surveys. But it was also a big capacity building exercise for us to really take some of that knowledge, and then through time hopefully we're going to be able to do more and more of this type of stuff in South Australia under their guidance.
Fantastic. It's great to see that, and hopefully we can, learn from those things, and like you say, maybe become a bit of a trailblazer in this space. You just never know the types of things that we might be able to do in the future.
Yeah, well, it's a big research area, and it's a good community. We work with Western Australia as well, and a couple of the other jurisdictions. So it's great to see it all evolving, and it's very much watch this space around the new ways of collecting this type of information.
Yeah, beautiful, Crystal. Now, we know this has been a big piece of work for yourself and everyone at PIRSA. What's next on the agenda? I'm sure you've got lots of projects on the go, but can you share something with us?
My main focus is just this app-based study. So obviously we're doing this national SRDC project, and we need to write up our report and recommendations on that. So that's a really big focus. And then there's obviously a whole bunch of research that's coming up around snapper that you guys would have talked about recently. There are components of that around recording recreational catch that I'll likely be involved in.
Ooh, that's hot off the press, Rody. We're looking for it. Maybe we'll have to keep your number close, Crystal, because that'll be very much what we're interested in the listeners. But we'll leave it at that today. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for your work that went into this survey. It's very much appreciated, and it's great to see that it's published now, available for everybody to have a look at.
Great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Crystal. Diz, absolute pleasure to chat with Dr. Crystal Beckman and get the latest on the rec fishing report that was announced recently.
Yeah, no, it was great to have a chat with Crystal. Really appreciate her insights into the survey, and interesting to sort of see, I guess, some of the trends in the way that people are starting to collect data and that sort of thing, particularly for that type of survey work. Now, obviously, we would have loved to have had a chat to Crystal about some of the other things that no doubt are really pressing on everybody's mind, whether it be snapper, whether it be some other sort of PIRSA-related activity. And I think it's important that everybody notes that Crystal wasn't involved and isn't involved in some of that. It was more just specifically around data collection and the survey. So couldn't get insights there, but we really do appreciate Crystal's input into what's come out of that survey, because it's fantastic to see some of those results.
It is, Diz. They're great results, and, you know, it's both that and the economic side of things that we've talked about as well, about the, you know, the value of the fishery being $1 billion recreationally, you know, puts us in a great position for future debates and decision-making.
Certainly does.
And that's not to say that we won't push to get SARDI and PIRSA on about the snapper and things like that in the future too, Diz.
No, absolutely. We'd love to, Rody. We'd obviously love to. We'd love to be on the forefront of that news. Rody, let's get into the fishing report, mate.
Rody and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Yes, we have been out on the water bringing you the news of where they're biting, Rody. And what we can tell you is they're not biting off Althorpes. For us anyway.
But they are biting off all
They are.
for everyone else.
They are, absolutely. Simon Green, Savage Tackle.
He smashed them.
Can I just say that lead, epic.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good.
Always does the job. Good sizes, good shapes. They're the best.
Burley bucket for the Gars,
Yep,
the best.
the best.
Anyway, we're talking to fishing report, but I thought that was important given that Simon did give us a good little update of his recent trip. He was down there with the Northern Districts
Sports Fishing
Club, and they had a weekend down there, I think. All stayed at Marion Bay, did some fishing down there, and he absolutely cleaned up. From memory, it was got the bag of flatties, good feed and nannies.
Bag of nannies too.
Bag of nannies.
Some good size blue morwong, and also got a blue groper in 20 metres of water.
Oh,
and he says here, surprised to see it get barotrauma from 20 metres. Sent it back with a 48-ounce release weight, and it swam off beautifully.
Oh, of course it did. That's because he makes the best bloody release weights there are.
So, Diz, that's a pretty serious feed. Obviously, sent the blue groper back, but Nanagai flathead, great eating.
They would have filled the freezer.
And obviously not Simon's fault, but geez, we were flat when he sent us through that message, literally on the way back to the boat ramp. We were pulling into Marion Bay, like into basically just past the jetty, and we almost turned around, but the girls would have killed us.
Oh, yeah, they definitely would have done that. But don't you worry, it crossed our mind. Crossed our mind, all right. But,
moral of the story is Simon knows how to fish Althorpes and we don't.
We don't.
But, Diz, we did have some success for the rest of the week. I would say it was a pretty good week's fishing, considering we did have some parental duties as well.
Yes, we did. And, I'd agree. It was a great week fishing. We smashed the whiting. We gave them a real touch-up, so to speak. We did well on squid. We got some blueies. Went diving for some scallops, which was good.
Yeah, we filled the freezer. We had some really good feeds while we were over there. I went for a dive, got the bag of crays down Edithburg way, which was really good.
Yeah, it was pretty epic on our last night. I had a friend, Lil Morgan, shout out. She's a listener.
She's she just gave some feedback on the Michael Pengilly episode, so she's working back through the catalogue.
But no, we had her down there for the last night, and it was great to be able to we had squid, we had abalone, we had crays, we had whiting. We just put on a seafood fiesta for her.
It is. We absolutely did eat like kings for the week.
We did. We certainly did. But anyway, so we are talking fishing report. Clearly, fish are biting down that way. But just weren't for us on the day, but that's fishing for you. Outside of that, Rhodey, a lot of reports, tuna off Edithburgh.
Yeah, it is. We did see that, and we kept an eye out when we did. As I say, I went down diving with Ben and Mark, friends of the show, and they said they'd heard some reports as well from around that area.
Yeah, okay, and then...
Didn't see any ourselves, but we were only in pretty shallow water diving.
Yeah. Tuna off Wallaroo.
Yeah, I saw that. I think SA Angler shared that, didn't they?
Yep. So the ferry, I think, actually saw them.
Oh, did it? Okay,
I think there was some footage of the ferry, but people got out there and I did see some photos do the rounds of people getting them, but I reckon they would have been very flighty schools as well, and I did see some notes about that.
And someone did say they were up in the Gulf on the other side as well.
Yeah.
Out off sort of Ardrossan way.
Yeah.
Fair way out. I don't know how recent that report was. That was more one of those...
Probably when they were
that?
firing off Metro, you'd imagine. But anyway, good to see that they're still around. And people still getting them off Victor, still getting them down at Althorpes and Marion Bay way.
And I'm still talking up one last crack, maybe weekend after next.
Oh, okay.
Put that in your diary, Diz.
There you go, put it in the diary.
Saturday or Sunday morning, play the weather, take the boys out.
Nice, love it.
Anyway, Diz, the other thing tuna related is the barrels. Have you seen this?
Oh, mate, they've been going crazy.
Portland is going nuts, which is, from my limited knowledge of barrel fishing, is very early in the season. It's unheard of to get this many fish.
Well, when we're talking to Tice on the boat, we fished with him in the Victor Comp. For anybody who hasn't listened to that episode, get around it. Want to Fish Charters operator, Tyson. So he is fishing between Warina and Port MacDonnell, and he's just announced that he's going to be going down from Port Mac out of Easter, I think.
Just before Easter, maybe?
Maybe weekend
Fish
before
down there
Easter.
for Easter.
And he was saying when we were fishing with him that he was starting to hear some early reports and he was getting a bit excited about it all. He's now obviously pulled the trigger and he's going. And if you want to do yourself a favour, I'd be booking in one of those early trips, because if they're firing like they are now, you'd be a real good chance of getting a big barrel.
And that'll book out. Weekends will be hard to get on the boat because everyone's going to want to get in on the action.
Yeah, it'll be... If you want to get out with, I reckon, basically any of those operators, you're going to either have to book now or you're going to be having to willing to go with midweek.
Yeah. And like we say, that was at Portland. The place to follow that is on that Portland Tackle Shop page.
Yeah.
And they've been putting up like 10 photos of barrels on particular days when the weather's good. So they're going nuts. Obviously, Portland isn't that far from Port Mac.
No.
And if last year's anything to go by, they'll start at one, they'll move to the other, they'll go back and forth a bit following the bait.
Yeah.
But if they're at Portland, they're not going to be far from Port Mac.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, Brody. No, very good. We look forward to seeing how the barrel season plays out, because they do have an early run, then they sort of go quiet usually for a bit, don't they? And then they come back firing.
Go in waves a bit.
Yeah. No, very good. All right, Brody. Much to touch on our week. We've talked about a few things. We did well on the squidding. We did quite well on the whiting. What else did we have? We did scalloping. That was good. Good. Yeah, enjoyed a good dive with Jack.
Yeah, put the scuba kit on and picked up a good esky size load of scallops.
Yeah, good. Easy to clean if you've got the right knife.
We got you on the butter knife and got them all done. The flexible butter knife, that's a bit of a tip, isn't it?
Yeah, an old school butter knife, like a bone-handled butter knife, that sort of thing.
Bit of flex so you can then get that sort of concave shape of the shell.
Yep, that's right. And you want to make sure that you don't put too many rocks in your catch bag like you did.
Yeah, I think that was Jack. But anyway, we'll blame it on him anyway. There was a rock, there was a starfish. Normally there's a few dead shells in there.
Yeah, nah.
I don't know. When you get under there, you just get in a bit of a frenzy and your hands are moving too fast for your brain. You get in the zone.
I've heard it all here. What
else is the crabs weren't as thick as we were hoping? Is that fair?
No, they
got a few,
weren't.
but
they weren't. But we've got to feed.
And some small ones too. Bit flat about that.
Yeah, some small ones to start with, but then, I don't know, maybe we're sort of at the end of the run of the tide or something, I don't know. But we didn't, again, that was something we tried to do with the kids, so I was a bit distracted. We didn't have a lot of, a bit blowy, didn't have a lot of attention, but good fun.
And the diving, Diz, took Ben out, or Ben took me out, actually.
I was going to say, a bit rich.
But I used the new noose. I don't know if we shared that earlier on,
Yes.
but we put another picture up. So
You rating the new noose over the old noose?
yeah, so this is one of the gun-shaped ones that goes over the antenna, and then you spike it, pull it down on the horns and pull it in. It's a homemade job that Jack and Ben and Mark put together. Mark's claiming credit, but
Okay.
I think it was a present from Jack, sort of. But anyway, Jack's my sister's partner, for anyone who's not aware.
Bit of a gun diver, would you say, or who takes the cake in that family?
Oh, well, they were all okay till I got in the water with them and showed them up.
Oh, rich.
Anyway,
No
we had fun.
chance.
We got the bag. It was a nice little dive, a little bit of weather, but it was pretty nice down there.
Very good. Very good.
And what was the only other thing I wanted to touch on, Diz? I can't remember what it was.
Oh, mate, I can't. Me trying to read your brain is something I don't want to ever know how to do.
Oh, barbecuing them, the crays. How good were they on the barbecue?
Oh,
That was
yeah.
what I wanted to say.
Yeah, good feed of fresh crays. Never bad. Never bad.
And traditionally people have boiled them, probably.
Yeah.
But those 1 kilo-ish size crays on the barbecue, bit of garlic, butter, parsley, salt and pepper.
Yeah, yummo.
You cannot beat that.
Yeah, yummo. Good gear, mate.
All right, Diz, that's probably getting towards the end, is it?
I think so. Where do the listeners find us, mate?
Diz, we are all over your Facebook and your Instagram. You can find us on all your big podcast services, your Apple Podcasts, your Spotify. You can find us on the Buzzsprout directly.
What do you do if you catch a fish and you take a photo of it?
You send it to us and enter our competition and put yourself in the running for some Shimano gear.
Obviously.
You'd be silly not to.
Yes. Love it, Rhodey. Episode 77. Looking forward to 78. Great to chat with Dr. Crystal Beckman, and we're looking forward to the next episode.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.